Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good day to everyone. So, in this video, we'll start with a new chapter, that is chapter 6, data descriptive. So, data descriptive basically is about statistics, right? So, in the first video about chapter 6, we begin with the 6.1, that is introduction to data. So, the learning outcome for this subtopic is to identify the discrete and continuous data, and also to identify ungrouped and grouped data. So, firstly, we take a look about a few definition. So, the first one is population. Right, basically population is a collection of all elements whose characteristics are being studied. Okay, the whole set is we consider population. And then parameter is a summary measure of the population or sample. So such as we want to find out mean, variance, so this we consider as a parameter. Okay, next. So sample is actually a subset of population. Okay, chosen from the population. Right, so for example here, our population is all student in our matriculation, that is KMJ. So in our whole population KMJ, there are 4 samples that we can obtain from our population. So the first sample is the girl marks in maths. The sample 2 about the boy's height, the boy's weight, and sample 3 the boy's height, and then lastly sample 4 girl's height. So when we represent our population and sample in the Venn diagram, so it will be like this. So the square here is the whole population, that is all KMJ students. So inside here, sample 1, the girl marks, if I'm not mistaken, and then also the sample 4, the girls weight, if I'm not mistaken, and then sample 2 about the boy's height, and then sample 3 about the boy's weight, right? So as I said earlier, the population is all students, okay? All KMJ students. Right. So next about the variable. So variable is any measured characteristic or attribute that differs for different subject. So if the weight of the 30 subject were measured, so this weight can be a variable. Okay. And then qualitative data. So qualitative is not numerical, but is assigned as an attribute such as man and woman, blue or black, or yes or no. Okay. So that's a qualitative. And for quantitative, it refers to observation that can measure numerically. So the mean, the various, mode, median. So these are we call quantitative data. So let's compare between qualitative and quantitative data. Right. So qualitative is about description. This with description, boys or girls, black or white. Okay. Data can be observed. Okay. We can observe with our own eyes, but it's not measured. Okay. It's not calculated. So about the colors, texture, smells, taste, appearance, beauty. So qualitative is more like about the quality. So if in our own eyes we can evaluate whether it is quality or not. Okay. Such as when we check the texture of the fabric and the smell of the food. Okay. Right. On the other hand, quantitative is deal with numbers. Okay, numerically. Data can be measured. Okay, measured. length, height, area, volume, weight, speed, time, temperature, all of these are quantitative. It's a numerical. Temperature 30 degree. Okay, height 116 cm, weight 60 kilogram. So these are we consider as a quantitative data. So quantitative, in other words, is about quantity. Okay. Right. So look at example 2 over here. So a survey was carried out on 40 boys and 60 girls at a college to find whether they like the subject mathematics or not. So state the population, sample, variable, and whether the variable is qualitative or quantitative. So let's see the solution here. So what's the population? So population would be, is it 40, 60? No. The population means the whole student, all student of the college. So 40 boys and 60 girls here actually represent the sample. Okay. And then what is the variable? So variable is about like mathematics or not, right? So like mathematics will be our variable. So the last question here. In your opinion, is it qualitative or quantitative? Like, remember quantitative, it can be measured numerically, right? Can we find the mean of like? Of course not, right? So obviously, for D, the answer is qualitative. Okay, it is not quantitative, right? So I hope you understand and can differentiate between qualitative and quantitative. Right. So now look at the chart in the slide. So the whole thing here is data. So as we learned earlier, it can divide into quantitative and qualitative. So since we are dealing about data descriptive, so we'll focus about quantitative. So for quantitative data, again it divides into two categories. The first one is discrete and the second one is continuous. So discrete is actually is countable, okay? So the shoe size, the number of students. So this is discrete. Continuous, it cannot, impossible to be countable. So usually we have a certain range for the continuous, such as the length of the film. The length of the film cannot be 1 to 3 minutes, okay? It should be a set. Is it about less than 60 minutes? Or is it about 60 to 70 minutes? Okay, so that's for continuous and also for temperature. For example, the temperature on the surface on Earth. So it can be 0 degree, minus 20, 20 degree, and even 40 degree. And also in between it can be 0.1, 0.2, and 0.3, right? So the temperature also we consider as a continuous. So in these continuous cases, we should have a group data, okay? More possible we have a group for continuous. And then for discrete, we still can choose to be ungrouped, or if you want to make it more organized, we can also group the discrete. Okay. So that's an overview about the discrete, continuous, and also about group and group, ungroup and group data. So in other words, discrete can take individual values. So continuous can be, it has to be a certain range, okay? It cannot individual values. So for example, so the this one already discussed earlier, right? In the chart, okay, we already discussed this example. So just a repetition of what we already discussed in the previous chart. Okay, so I hope you can distinguish between discrete and continuous. And if for your information, later on when we deal about the probability and also probability distribution function, we still have to categorize into discrete and continuous data. So it's very important for us to understand at the beginning right here about the difference between discrete and continuous. Right. So next we move to the example 3. So in example 3, the marks gained by the 30 PhD student in a maths exam. So this is a list of the marks. So as you can see here, the mark is not arranged. So this kind of data we consider as a ungrouped data or also a raw data. The data that not processed yet we consider as a raw data and also an ungrouped data. So later when we group the data, we will have a class interval to group the data, this data. So in order to group this data, we have the question asks us to construct a frequency distribution table. So this one should be example 3 and not example 2. So this is we sketch the table. So this is our table, and in order to fill out this table, we have to refer the raw data here, right? So now we want to fill up the data, so we have to construct the tally first. So let's say the first class interval 40 to 59. This is what we call class interval. 50, 59. So this is what we call class interval. So first look at the marks within the class interval 40 and 49. So we check which one start with 4 at the front. So we should have 40, 44, 47, 3, 49, 4. Okay. Any others? No. So we have 4 tally here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the quantity is 4. Right, next we choose the different color. So the light green here. I choose the dark green. Right, so next for 50, between 50 and 59 in class interval. So the start with 5, right? So here 58, 1, 52, 2, 59, 3, 54, 4, 57, 5. So we already have 5, right? 5 in the first row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then for the second row, we have another 1, 2. So we have another 2. And then for the third row, we have 57, 1. Right, so total we have 5 plus 3, so it is 8 for between 50 and 59. So right, next we choose the light blue color. So 60 and 69. So we start the number that start with 6, right? So first we have 63, 1, 61, 2, 65, 3, 69, 4, 63, 5. So we have 5 in the first row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then next for the second row, we have 64, 1, 68, 2, 65, 3. So we have 3 on the second row. And then for the third row, we have 68, 1 and 61, 2. So we have another 2, 1 and 2. So total 5 plus 5, we have 10 for the class interval 60 and 69. Right, next for class interval 70 and 79. So this time we want to choose the dark blue color. So the first row we have 75, 70, okay, 2 for the first row. And then for the second row we have 76, 1, 74, 2. So we have another 2 from the second row. And then for the third row we have 71, only 1. So total we have 5. Right, and then lastly, we choose the orange color, 60 and 60, between 60 and 69. So for the first row, so check first row, we didn't have the number that start with 8. Second row we have 81 here, so 81, 1, 82, so we have 2 for the first row. And then for the for the second row, and then for the third row we have 81, okay, 1, only 1. So we put 1 here. So total 1, 2, 3, we have only 3 between 60 and between 80 and 89. So it's not very clear, the orange color. So maybe I should use a different color. Never mind, as long that we know the total is 3, okay. Okay. Right. So that's about the how we do the tally, and also how we write down the frequency. And then check the total here. So the total here must be equals to 30, right? So 4 plus 8 is 12, 12 plus 10, 22, so 22 plus 5, 27, 27 plus 3 is 30. So the total should be 30, okay? Right, so that's all for the introduction about the data descriptive. So don't forget, in our next video, we will discuss about the measures of location 6.2. So stay tuned for that. Until then, thank you very much. Bye-bye.